Startup is a business which can grow at a super fast scale, and it can achieve like like a very big like market or like potential. So you can as well say, for example, you can open up a shop which sells books. That is a shop, and it's not a startup because it's a business. Whereas if you do it online and like you can scale it up massively, that your reach is across the country. So then you become like a Flipkart, and it's a startup. So the basic difference between a business and a startup is that a startup can be scaled very fast and it is massively scalable. Okay. So, and like how do you define an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur would probably be somebody who is willing to put up that kind, like who is willing to work on that kind of a challenge. You have a lot of businessmen. I would say they are also entrepreneurs. But basically, there's a difference between an entrepreneur who startup chala raha hai and an entrepreneur, somebody who is doing a traditional business. My dad was into like finance and all. So like my forefathers were in business. Again, like traditional business. I come from a Marwadi family. My dad was more into like finance business, stock market and all. Yeah, that is one of it. So, but I've grown seeing business around me, so I kind of understand. I graduated from Bitspilani, in 2010. It was more of an innate decision. I just knew. Or probably you can say that I'm a Marwadi, so I cannot really do anything else. So, let me tell you the story. So basically, I was in my like village. It's called Deshnoki in Rajasthan. You might have heard of the Karni Mata Rat Temple. So basically I was there on a Navratra in 2011 and I figured out that it's very very hard to go inside this temple, and people are, and there is immense faith, but there is no way where people can actually channelize this faith, or how do I say but there is no way. Basically it's very hard for somebody to even enter the temple, and like once inside the temple you are surrounded by all those pandas and all, and it's like really hard. So what can we do to basically use technology to bring religion, to like improve this religious segment? So then this idea, the entire idea for instance has generated, by using online Prasad we can connect people to their faith. So you might have a faith in Shirdi, but obviously you won't have time to fly down to Shirdi, spend almost a day in a queue, for the darshan. So, like obviously we cannot get the temple to your doorstep, but we can do the next best thing, and that is Prasad. So, and this is how the entire idea of online Prasad generated. How, like what is online Prasad? So the whole idea is to connect people to their faith using technology, and Prasad is a medium which we can do it. Being a salesperson, so number one thing that all businessmen have to be good at sales. If you're thinking about being a CEO and if you suck at sales, you cannot run a company. That's rule number one. And as a salesman, if you basically go and if somebody buys your product or anything for that matter, I'm not saying about Prasad in general, but I'm talking about everything. As a salesperson, you would obviously love this feeling. And for me, it was very, very new. So imagine me being being in consulting, in the corporate culture, very different. Coming out of that, meeting people from all sorts of so there was these interactions with all top shot people, in the organization outside, and then coming out going to temples, which is in tier 3, tier 4 cities, not even cities, like villages, which don't even have a railway station. And meeting people over there, trying to explain the concept. It's like selling the concept first of all to people at these locations, because they don't understand internet. So they understand there's something .com, but they don't really care or they don't really know. So like a Khatu Shyam ji, nobody understands what internet is, क्या होता है. उनको समझाना, convince करना, getting them on board, hiring people from there, to tell them कि boss, we are very very good, we can take your career forward, and actually also like convincing people, you know, कि यार हो जाएगा. But हाँ, to be honest, I like more of my sales has been to people to get them on board, convincing, and I also convince people. So basically, if somebody is interested, he comes automatically. So my sale has more been going out to these tier 4 locations and convincing people who are earning lakhs every day probably to work with us for pennies every day. So that has been a fantastic experience. Once you convince people at that level, it's fun. Very interesting obstacle. I'll tell you about online Prasad. Day 1, 1st January, our shipment actually goes out. It is delayed by like 5-6 days, you know, like, and then some of the packets of Prasad reach the audience or the bhakts who have ordered it. The Prasad boxes are almost empty. So we shipped out almost like 10-12 pedas, and this guy got 2. So can you imagine a courier guy actually stealing pedas and eating that off? So that is a kind of challenge which we faced on day 1. You know, we have to improve our packaging. So at every step there are challenges. So that was one challenge at that point of time. Then came some technology challenge, you know, like when we hit some scale, we were still not on good technology. So then technical challenges. Then we had hiring challenge which we are right now. So at every step there is a challenge. I think if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, you should love this uncertainty and you should love these challenges. Because if you don't like challenges and if you do not like uncertainty, you do not know what will happen tomorrow or so 1 week down the line, then I think entrepreneurship is not the right taste for you. So you really have to love, challenge आएगा, मजा आएगा solve करना इसको. It was my decision to go to Bits Pilani and do this. It was my decision to join the company, my decision to quit. And like coming from a business family also helps because they understand, you know, that he can probably do it. Because at the back of it, I can anyways go and take up a job. That is not an issue. So there was no issue in terms of convincing people. Though they were, you know, like, so obviously in one Indian scenario, there is always this thing, you know, of the extended family, of the uncles and aunts, and they will always try to tell कि बेटा ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम्हारी तो 15 लाख की सैलरी है, तुम वो छोड़ के कैसे ये क्या कर रहे हो, पार्ट टाइम कर लो, ये कर लो, वो कर लो. So all of those aunties and uncles would come, and to anybody, my advice is ignore everybody else, just do what you think is right. That is how you really get things done. Otherwise nothing will happen. The day we got featured on the front page of ET, I was like bombarded with calls, like even with all those uncles and aunties who first of all said, "Yeah, Goonjan, this is a pathetic business. क्या कर रहे हो? Why did you quit your job?" And they were now happy that okay, you did something out of your life. So that is something interesting, and like being covered on the first page of ET, that also matters, at least at this stage. I don't know. That is probably like memorable day which happened very recently. It's highly important in a way. Actually, basically think about it in this way. Unless you are very passionate about solving a very complex problem, you know, or like doing something which actually nobody has done so far, there has to be this constant level of motivation, because you will be blocked and the doors will be closed at every step. So you know, you will face lot of rejection, you will face lot of obstacles, and you will face hazard challenges. You know, there is nothing much. So there has to be a driving force towards it. You know, you are taking so much pain, you are putting in your time, effort, money, energy, everything. So passion is the only thing which can actually fuel your startup, and to basically take it to a formidable level, it really requires you to be very passionate and very like resilient, that you have to keep coming back, and that is what passion for me is. You should love what you do. That as simple as that. So currently we are in about 20-25 temples. We have we have our team members like at every single location. So first we go, we kind of appoint somebody at that location. Uske baad we keep on like coordinating with this guy over email, over phone, multiple things now, and that's how this thing works. And we have some more operational process on top of that. Yeah, one thing I have been particularly conscious and taking very hard effort to maintain is is the promise to the customer. So for example, if we say कि एकादशी वाले दिन प्रसाद ऑफर होना है, तो we kind of make it sure कि एकादशी का द्वादशी भी नहीं होना चाहिए. That is the kind of, so basically like delivering on customers' promises, like whatever we have kept. Like either we say this is not possible to happen. If somebody comes to us at say night 11 o'clock and says कि कल का offering लगवाना है, if that is not possible, we clearly said it's not possible. But like whatever we have committed to our clients, we obviously try to like deliver, like over deliver each and every time. So probably that is one thought which I have kept constant. Like whatever we have to promise, we should over deliver on every promise that we do. Honestly, I don't care. So I know how the company has to evolve. I understand how this domain evolves. I understand what my client base wants, and I do not, I just listen to every feedback which I get. But at the end of the day, there's a big filter, and I understand that this is a good feedback. I'll obviously implement it as soon as possible. So I'm very fast on implementing feedbacks and doing changes. But honestly, I cannot care less about any criticism which is coming to me. So I don't. Yeah. My single point advice would be to ignore. As simple as that. There will be red tape. There will be a lot of challenges. You have taken up this journey to actually deal and face those challenges. So it's perfectly fine. The challenges are there for everybody, not just you. And it's kind of good, yeah. It's a barrier to entry. Think of it this way: it's a barrier to entry. But never get bogged down by this is the rule. You cannot do this. You cannot go here. So just ignore. If you talk in terms of policy and all, I think yes. But as a country to do business in, as a country to start up, I think India is one of the best places you can do it. One, because the entire startup ecosystem is growing very rapidly, and now you see a lot of people trying to help out entrepreneurs. You can reach out to the biggest people in the industry and ask for help, and they will help you. So that's one. Second, India is a massively big market. So whatever you try out, you will find somebody who would like it. You can sell anything. You can sell empty plastic bottles. Probably there would be a person. So basically, you can sell, or you can basically test it out very fast. If you really have to test out a new idea, like go out to a metro station, talk to 20 people. You'll figure out if if this idea is worth it or not. If people actually want it or not. So the whole idea discovery / talking to people, trying to sell becomes very easy when you are in a country like India. And in India, one more thing is that people are very receptive to new ideas. So that makes India kind of a perfect place to start up, even with all its challenges and all. It's like very. I take business startup as a journey, and it is fun. So till the time you are having fun with it, it's awesome. So if you meet the same kind of guys every day, you will not like it. Like very similarly, like if you are every day having Domino's pizza, you will get bored. So it's best you try out different things. You meet different people, get new views, and like by meeting more people and by getting different views, you also get a lot of very good ideas to actually work on, to actually implement. That's a very, very good thing. This diversity actually helps a lot. So basically, as of now, we are very small to even focus on people who are educated. So we'll obviously go step by step. So you being a startup, having very limited resources, one very critical challenge which is in front of you is that you have to focus on a particular segment where you can actually contribute. So you cannot go out and reach out to everybody. You really have to focus. I will go after segment X and then go all guns after it. So for example, say Startup Chile. That's a fantastic program where the government actually sponsors a lot of money for people across the world to come and work. In India, there are very few initiatives taken by the government, to be honest. So the more number of initiatives and the more money is pumped and given to people, to to actually try out new things, to basically start up, or like even in the SME sector, to try to grow the entire industry in India. That will help everybody. So I am a strong proponent of this, of the system. So instead of giving like direct cash to poor people, actually pump in money in the industry so that everybody is employed, and I actually also give to farmers who are more entrepreneurial. Instead of giving to straight to the laborer, like give it to a farmer who actually will employ 30 people. So that you are teaching a person as in how to fish and not giving him a fish for the first time, which is very, very important. I would have just one thing to say. If you really care about something, just start right away. There is no right time to start. There is no wrong time to start. Okay. If you think that you are passionate about enough on something, and if you love what you're going to do, you should just follow hard, just start. Again, it's like a very cliche thing, but it's like you are going, like you're walking across a dark jungle with a torch in your hand. So you really have to take the first step to see like what lies ahead. So my advice would be very simple: start right now.